Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Over the Top Talk. I'm your host, Owen, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Anthony. And this is being
Yes, sir.
recorded one night after the conclusion of Wrestlepalooza, which was last night, which was a very underwhelming event. A lot of people aren't happy online. There's
Yeah.
a lot to get into with this review, but before me and Anthony start, as always, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow Over the Top Talk on all platforms, whether that's Instagram, we're on TikTok and Twitter. Most active on Instagram, though. That's where you'll see all our rails, posts, stories, pretty much every day. So make sure to subscribe, like this video, and check out our other socials, which will be down in our description. But with no
Yes,
further
sir.
ado, I just want to ask you, just before we get into these matches, specifically down the line, how did you
hmm
feel about this first ESPN PLE Wrestlepalooza?
Um, well, to kind of put it into the kindest words I can, I think it was a failure. I really do. I think it was a failed PLE, a failed attempt at ESPN. Like we saw, there was complaints about, people who were supposed to have access to it weren't getting access to it. There was some lag time I was experiencing a lot. And what was it? The just overall like ads and placements of the ads, like in the ring. If you notice, like in the ring, there was so many different little things, and there was 4-minute breaks in between 4-minute commercials when you had to pay more money. So I just feel like all around it was just not a great experience.
And yeah, especially for they've been hyping up this Palooza pay per view for pretty much almost like 2 months now. I feel like since they started the
hmm
promotion for ESPN. But yeah, like you said, it was I feel like it was a failure, not very underwhelming too. I mean, Triple H promised us a way better product, said a lot was going to happen, and then nothing really happened. I don't know whether he was just trying to get people to buy tickets, purchase the ESPN plans, but moving forward, he's definitely after last night, people's eyes are wide open, especially the ones that have to pay the $30 a month,
Yeah.
following with the other things you have to pay for. Um, but yeah, just to get into it, starting with the first match of the night, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. First of all, Brock Lesnar looked, like he hasn't aged in about 20 years. Even, Michael Cole saying he looks way better now than he did in 2015, 2013.
Yeah.
As well as Cena, I liked that, entrance he had with the kids. It was kind of random. Wasn't really expecting him to get some special entrance like he did, but I guess it's Wrestlepalooza. They were trying to hype that up a little bit. Um, as far as the match went, though, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Lots of complaints from this match. I feel like there was lack of action. Only like maybe like three clotheslines from Brock. Some AAs from Cena. Like 20 F5s from Brock Lesnar, and then I think the match was like 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. Which,
Yeah.
when you have a guy like Cena, people would be mad about this match, anyways. But with Cena only having I think it's 4 or 5 scheduled appearances left, I feel like it was a failure of a match, especially one of Cena's last matches with one of his greatest rivals, I would say. Um, Moving
Yeah.
forward from this match, I know we're gonna get a rematch because obviously we don't see Cena for until Crown Jewel. But then I
hmm
was hearing that this could, possibly be one of Cena's last matches, which would make sense, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because now he has this story that he lost to Lesnar. He got crumbled by Lesnar in about 5 minutes, and unfortunately, that's a story that they could bring into his final match up in December. But
hmm
obviously, not trying to look too far in the future yet. What were your thoughts on this match?
Well, the part about this match that is the most disappointing to me, and I'm guessing this is the same for you too, is Cena has well after this now he has 5 appearances left. Okay. and there was a whole hype package before the match started and weeks in advance and everything, like showing the feud between Lesnar and Cena, how this has been like a blood feud, how this is seen as like, biggest rival of all time, always been a thorn in his side ever since they came up together back in like 2002, and they've had like, crazy, well, not parallel careers obviously, because like Brock left. He left in 04, came back in 2012 and attacked Cena in 2014. Like they have all this lore together, and then they decide that they want this match to go like 7 to 9 minutes of just pure Lesnar just beating on Cena. And the only bit of offense that Cena got was he hit 3 AAs that Lesnar almost no-selled. He just, he got up after 2 of them and laid down after another, and it was 2 count. And like you said, this obviously is going to lead to another match down the line. And I'm not even sure if it's going to happen at Crown Jewel in Perth. I could just see that simply being like, I saw some people talking about how it could just be like a Grayson Waller effect. Grayson Waller is from Australia, where he could just interview John Cena there, kind of getting his thoughts. And, maybe this could just go into like War Games, or like, God forbid, September, December. Like, what if John Cena has no more matches except this next Lesnar one? Like that's a thought in my head that's just horrible. Like, I feel like they really booked themselves in a really bad corner here. The fans are left disappointed. The crowd was dead during this match. This is not what we wanted at all. We would really like to see like a 30-minute match between like 2 original people in the company. Like, they both have been around for 20 something years, and we just wanted to see a great match. But instead, we just saw a totally one-sided squash match. So I was left very disappointed after.
Yeah, and as far as the storyline goes, obviously we don't see Cena till Crown Jewel, so who knows what they're gonna do moving forward. But as we get closer to Crown Jewel, we'll probably get more news on what they're gonna do with Cena, what they're gonna do with Brock Lesnar. To be honest, I don't even know if we're gonna see Brock Lesnar that much during this time. But
Yeah.
moving on to one of the, I think, this match, once again, we had the Usos versus the Vision. It was they finally made a pretty good decision having the Vision win.
Mm-hmm.
My only issue is the, kind of the unnecessary ad of LA Knight as the special guest referee. I thought that was very confusing, especially because they made that official like 30 or an hour before the match even happened. I understand why they did it, because you have Jey Uso and that feud kind of showing. We saw it throughout the match. Jey and LA Knight kind of having some confrontations. Jey even almost hitting LA Knight with a chair. Towards the end of that match.
Yeah.
I think the match itself was all right. I'm not gonna say it's one of the top matches. It technically was supposed to be a regular, match, and they kind of turned it into like a tornado tag type of match. Then obviously had to cut it short because we saw Jey Uso, get that injury when the chair, I think, went off of Braun into Jey's own forward, and we saw him start leaking blood, like real blood, not just when they cut themselves or whatever they do. And then, kind of that weird ending. They kind of ended it quick. I think Jimmy took like a spare through the table. And then, I think was Jey the one that was pinned?
Yeah, Jey took the tsunami and he got pinned.
Yeah, Jey was pinned, but moving forward with this, obviously it's not the end. It's not the end of the Vision. It's not the end of the Usos. I didn't even mention that to start. I really liked hearing the old Usos theme that we haven't heard in about over 2 years now, so that was refreshing. Yep. Then they kind of turned it back to Jey's, theme, but that was obvious. ESPN Indianapolis. What were your, thoughts on this match?
I agree with you. I think the match was fine. Personally, like I did like I did like how LA Knight like didn't really care about the rules. He like didn't have strict rules. He kind of let it be an extreme rules match. We got to see like the tables and the chairs and all that stuff. But it didn't really make much sense to have LA Knight, as a special guest referee, given the fact that he has issues with both parties. He's got a problem with Jay. We know that he doesn't like either Braun, but like he doesn't like Seth Rollins, obviously, or any of the Vision. So I feel like that was a little bit, odd. If you're gonna pick a special guest referee, why are you gonna pick LA Knight? But I did think the match quality was okay. I thought it was more so like a SmackDown or Raw level match. Um, but like you said, we saw that Jay really got busted open the hard way with the steel chair bouncing off Braun Breaker's back and just into his head. But I do think the right decision was made, having the Vision win. But moving forward from this, I do think that we're going to see CM Punk get back involved, and we're going to see Seth Rollins get back involved. And like ultimately, I think this is just going to be a future build to War Games. I think that's all what this is for. We're just going to eventually get into War Games, have the Vision versus the Usos and CM Punk and whoever else we add to that. So I could just see them like running this back at like Perth in Crown Jewel. Maybe they change something around, different stipulation. I've been saying for a while now that I want to see the Vision go after the tag titles. So maybe they do that in the upcoming weeks. Maybe they get themselves in that loop because we know the Raw tag team division is really dead right now. So like if the Vision can get that, that'll be really nice to see. The Usos back together. Hopefully they keep building on that. Like I don't want to see Jay like turn heel quite yet. Um, so hopefully we just got like a pretty good, decent, strong build going into War Games, and these two parties can put on some great matches.
Yeah, we obviously haven't seen the end of the Usos. We haven't seen the end of the Vision. Obviously Monday Night Raw. We'll see what unfolds tomorrow night. But
Yeah.
moving on to some more, which I thought was up there for the match of the night. I don't. It was second best match of the night, I would say, in my opinion. It was Stephanie Valkyrie versus Io Sky, with our new women's champ being Stephanie Valkyrie, which once again was another great decision. I
Mm-hmm.
think this match was very good. Not surprised. We've seen these two women for a while now. Seeing them compete against each other was, really spectacular. Spectacular. Lots of good spots,
Yeah.
moves. Stephanie being the champ now opens the door for a lot of different feuds. One obviously being Rhea Ripley, because now I feel like with Io Sky, they have that Asuka, storyline going on. So I feel like Io Sky will be out of the title picture for a tiny bit of time while
Mm-hmm.
she deals with the Asuka feud that have been kind of starting over on Raw for the past month now, I would say. As far as Stephanie Valkyrie goes, she's the new champ. We'll probably see some type of promo tomorrow night, or celebration, whatever they choose to do. I
Mm-hmm.
really do think we'll see Rhea Ripley probably confront her tomorrow. And honestly, I could see the next match for Stephanie from this point being Stephanie Valkyrie versus Rhea Ripley. I think it makes the most sense, and I think that's a firework potential match. But what were your
Oh yeah.
thoughts on this match and Stephanie Valkyrie being our new champion?
Yeah, I thought the match was really good. I thought it was a good, really good technical match. We both know that Io and Stephanie can go, both like two of the best women's wrestlers that they have to offer. So yeah, I had no doubt that this match would be great, and they did deliver very well. And I'm very happy that Stephanie Valkyrie did get the win here. And I honestly do. I agree with your take here. I think her next feud will be against Rhea Ripley. We did hear her say, like we heard Rhea say on Raw, that whoever wins the match, she is coming for that title. And I think it only makes sense for it to take place in Perth, given that Rhea is from Australia. So I think we're going to get Stephanie Valkyrie versus Rhea Ripley, but I do not see Stephanie dropping this title anytime soon. I think she's going to be a very long holder of this. I think we could even see going into Mania season her holding this title, hopefully. And I don't doubt that she's also going to be going into War Games, whatever the women's War Games match is going to be, assuming it's going to be Judgment Day versus like Io, Rhea, maybe Stephanie, and who else. So I'm excited to see that build too. I could probably see that starting right after Crown Jewel. So I'm just looking forward to the future, and I think the title is in really good hands right now.
Yeah, and obviously, once again, we'll see both these women probably in some sort of segment tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens with these two women and our new champ, Stephanie Valkyr. And with that, which I would say this was probably, I would say match of the night, which a lot of people probably isn't shocking to hear. We had Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins versus CM Punk and AJ Lee. With AJ Lee, returning to the ring action for the first time in 10 years. And honestly, she looked, amazing. There was a lot of great spots in this match. It was a longer match too, but they made, the most out of this match. Lots of, spots even between CM Punk and Becky Lynch. And then obviously with Seth Rollins and AJ Lee, with like the leg locks, trying to think of what move. When Seth Rollins had AJ Lee and then CM Punk kind of flipped AJ Lee onto Becky Lynch. I think that was a 6 spot.
Yeah, that was cool.
The only issue, and I think we're starting to see this, and a lot of fans are noticing with Becky Lynch. I don't know what it is, but her, selling as of late, I feel like hasn't been that great. Especially the finish was kind of awkward with AJ Lee. Her finishers, when she sets up her finisher, it's I think it's satisfying to see. I think with AJ Lee's finisher at the end there with Becky Lynch, I feel like she sold it terribly, kind of just standing up straight and making it kind of look like a weak move. I think she could have sold that a little bit better. The tap was kind of weird, but overall, I'd say this was match of the night. Correct winners: CM Punk and AJ Lee. From here, I would assume at Crown Jewel it's going to be Becky Lynch and AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yep. As far as Seth Rollins and Punk go, obviously we'll talk about this later, but Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes are going to be fighting for I think it's like the Crown Jewel Championship or ring, whatever they win for that, champion versus champion. So I don't know what's going to happen between Seth Rollins and Punk at the moment, but what were your overall thoughts on this match? That we haven't seen one of these matches in a while where it's, a intergender match. So how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I do agree. I thought that this was definitely match of the night. I liked how, it kind of started off as like a traditional tag match. We have AJ Lee outside the ring, and we have Punk starting it off, and he's just getting beat up by Rollins and Becky Lynch, and we're kind of building up for that huge hot tag to get AJ in the ring. And when she finally does, it's kind of like fireworks start going off. The match really started picking up after that. I really liked some spots like outside the ring when they were both on the announce table, and they both ended up going through it, where we had Becky Lynch and AJ on one ring and Punk and Rollins on the other. That was pretty cool to see. And I definitely agree. The right winners won. I think, Punk and AJ definitely deserve to win this. I'm really happy for them. But moving on forward from this match, I definitely see, obviously Seth Rollins has that match with Cody coming up at Crown Jewel. But even moving on from that, I do think he's going to, be with the Vision. Obviously, he's going to be leading them into War Games. And I think Punk is going to circle back around. He's going to definitely be involved in that match one way or another. Whoever else joins him, I'm not sure. I do see probably we do get Cody in there. I actually don't even know who else, but I think it's going to be the Vision and Rollins and Punk and all of them going in there, which is going to be really fun to see. And for the women's side, I do think AJ and Becky definitely gonna have that that huge match at Perth. And honestly, I would love to see if they gave AJ Lee the belt there, seeing her pin Becky and get the IC title. I think that'd be really, really nice to see her finally getting a title again in this new era of wrestling. Like you said, her first match in 10 years, she has not missed a beat. She looked incredible. And I'm just really excited to see what they do with her down the line.
Yeah, and obviously moving on kind of in between this match and the main event, we saw, obviously the Undertaker come out in kind of an I like how he was the one that, let her know that she was making it to Hall of Fame, but I think it was kind of an awkward segment, to be honest. I mean, he
Yeah, it was.
rolled down to the ring, parked his bike, and then kind of sat in the crowd for probably about like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And, Stephanie McMahon deserves this, especially the Attitude Era. She did a lot in her, she was young back then, doing a bunch of spots, doing a bunch of, creepy segments at times. The Undertaker, kind of funny that he was the one that let her know that she was going to the Hall of Fame, because he obviously had that Ministry of Darkness, where he kidnapped Stephanie years ago during the Attitude Era. But nonetheless, I think this was kind of just a weird segment that really didn't have to be weird, but it was kind of just portrayed that way, I guess. But
yeah, she definitely deserves it.
Obviously, congratulations to Stephanie. We'll see her Hall of Fame induction close to Mania season with whoever else they add into the Hall of Fame that we'll see within the next upcoming months.
Yes.
But with that, we were led into Cody versus Drew, which, once again was just, felt like just one of those matches that you kind of just sit through. And the result, I'm not surprised with. The match itself was all right. Not one of the greatest. Obviously, Drew McIntyre kind of had the only moment that I felt like was kind of, whatever, was when the ref kind of didn't let Drew drill Cody into the announcer's table, which obviously we knew wasn't going to happen. Then it led to, a couple minutes later, Cody hitting his finisher and Drew McIntyre taking another pin and losing another title match. And, we kind of got nothing from this match, to be honest. A lot of people were expecting Randy Orton, maybe. I think Randy Orton is close to starting a feud with Cody. I just don't know when they're going to pull the trigger, if they do end up pulling the trigger with that. As far as Drew goes, I honestly don't know at this point. They had him lose another title match, which was not really a great match I wouldn't even say a great match from either one of these men, which is kind of shocking, because usually we're not saying that when it comes to Cody and Drew. But what were your overall thoughts on, Cody retaining and, the match itself?
Well, I think the problem was, let me start off. Let me restart. I think this match was fine. I think the match was an overall good match. Both of them have good chemistry with each other. The match is not the issue. I think the problem was having this match main event the show. I really don't think this should have main evented. I think the mixed tag match definitely should have. Because having Cody and Drew main event created us to have very high expectations for the match. Like expecting Randy Orton to come out, expecting maybe Drew somehow beating Cody, something like that. But instead, we just got a clean match where, Drew lost, Cody won. And I feel like that is where Triple H kind of misled us a little bit. He was saying expect huge stuff to happen, expect some crazy, amazing things, and we didn't see it in the rest of the show. So we were like thinking, all right, well, it's got to be in this match. It's got to be in the main event. We're going to see something massive happen. but instead just like a kind of SmackDown level match. It was nothing crazy, nothing at all, nothing really exciting. So I think moving forward, this is going to kind of damper the promotions for these PLEs. When they say expect huge, we're all going to end up going in with really low expectations because of how lackluster and like underwhelming and really just disappointing this whole show was, in my opinion. Like we did have some highs, like the Stephanie Vaquer match was a really high, the mixed tag match was really high, but the lows were very, very low. Like the show started off low and it ended very low. So I feel like all around it was just very disappointing.
Yeah, and well, we're on the road now, I guess I should say, to Crown Jewel, one of Cena's last, one of his last stops.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll be making content, closer to Crown Jewel. We'll probably make some sort of, Crown Jewel predictions, whether it's just us two, whether we add more people in. For everyone that is watching, make sure to subscribe and like this video. It helps us a lot. We're on the road to 100 subs over on Instagram. Same thing, Over the Top Talk. We are on the road to 2,000 followers over there. Instagram's where we're most active. You'll see videos, clips from these interviews, from these predictions, reviews, everything like that. We're also on Twitter, Over the Top Talk, so make sure to follow us over there. We're on the road to Crown Jewel, less than a month away. Like I said, one of Cena's last stops. And we'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching and
Thank
listening,
you.
everybody.